Hey guys, thanks for coming back for the next week of our series, Enter the Dojo. We've been talking about taking off our old bad habits and putting on new good habits. The thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. And the same goes for someone who might be in martial arts. To become better, they must be trained. It takes hard work and discipline to get better. And that is the purpose of a dojo. It's a place where someone in martial arts learns to take off the old habits of fighting for bad to putting on the good habits of fighting or defending for good. Our memory verse for this series, Ephesians 4:22-24 says, "You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." Today's Bible story is about Jacob and Esau. No, not Seesaw, Esau. Now Esau and Jacob were twins, but since Esau was born first, he was supposed to get everything their father owned. And when it came time for their father Isaac to give him his inheritance, Jacob, the younger brother, came up with a plan to trick their father. Jacob dressed up like his brother and tricked Isaac into giving him all of the inheritance that belonged to Esau. When Esau came back and saw what happened, he was so angry. And who wouldn't be? His own brother had taken what was rightfully his. Esau and Jacob spent years and years apart. And then one day, Esau agreed to meet Jacob. And Jacob was scared to meet his brother. He hadn't seen him since he stole from him. But when Esau arrived, he ran to see his brother and he hugged him. Esau told Jacob that he wasn't angry. Esau had already forgiven Jacob for all that he had done, and he wasn't bitter at all. Esau chose to forgive him instead of being bitter. And that's what we're talking about, taking off bitterness and putting on forgiveness. And it's really easy to stay bitter at someone who has done wrong to us. And you might be asking, what does it mean to be bitter? Well, one meaning is anger and disappointment at being treated unfairly. And have any of you ever been treated unfairly? When someone does something that isn't fair to you, we tend to have a hard time giving them forgiveness. Of all people who didn't have to forgive anyone, it was Esau. Jacob had done wrong by him and stole his inheritance, but even after that, Esau forgave Jacob and was excited to see his brother. Have your parents, teachers, friends, or even your enemies ever said or done something to you and you thought, there's no way I can forgive them for this? They're too mean, or this is just not fair. I think we all have thought that about someone, but God is calling us to not have on bitterness and to put on forgiveness. The thing is, putting on forgiveness can even help us. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say this brick represents the weight of bitterness. Now we can choose to forgive and let it go, or hold on to that bitterness, and that can really hold us down. So for instance, let's say someone calls you a name. You can forgive and let it go, or you can choose to hold on to that bitterness. Or, let's say someone pushes you in line. You can forgive and let it go, or you can choose to hold on to that bitterness. Well, let's say someone lies to you. And you can forgive and let it go, or you can choose to hold on to that bitterness. Now over time, these burdens really weigh us down. Maybe you're expecting someone to apologize, which they should, but in our response, we should forgive. And why, you ask? Because that is what Jesus did. So when we choose to forgive, this weight can be lifted off of us. Ephesians 4:32 says, "Be kind and tender to one another. Forgive each other, just as God forgave you, because of what Christ has done." This is the greatest reason that we have to forgive others and not hold on to bitterness. Because even when we mess up and do wrong against God, which we tend to do pretty often, because of what Jesus did on the cross, we are forgiven. No matter what we have done, God forgives us. What other reason do we need to forgive others? So let's choose to take off bitterness and put on forgiveness. Let's choose to be people who forgive others, because God forgave us.